Hey, everybody, I'm John Granado, and that is Josh Jordan. You can hear us on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Josh is also in charge of SportsMapHouston.com. See his work there. And you know what? Hit subscribe if you haven't yet so you get all of our content here at SportsMap HOU. Hey, Josh, this week we got the news. Camu Grugier-Hill requested and was granted his release. I feel awful that Camu Grugier-Hill isn't going to be here anymore. I also feel pretty bad that Brandon Cooks decided not to attend his media session because he was getting in a lift. Okay, he needed a lift. What's going on here? There's something going on. Is this a cultural issue that nobody wants to be with this organization anymore? Or is this some collateral damage from the Easterby firing?
Ooh, I'm going to go with the Easterby stuff. I mean, these guys are kind of known Easterby guys. That's the leaders of the Bible study, all that kind of stuff. And if we remember, the last time we heard from Brandon Cooks was last week. He didn't miss that media session for a lift. He went there to defend Jack Easterby and say what great things he did for the organization. And we did a video talking about Easterby leaving, and part of the video was like, why now? We wish they would have done it so much sooner. Why now? What do you think, John? Do you think maybe Easterby was possibly going around talking to guys like Brandon Cooks, Grugier-Hill, and trying to kind of get them to maybe kind of do something for him, or maybe he was pulling strings behind the scenes and they had to get rid of him?
I know for a fact that he was trying to garner favor from people to actually come to his rescue. He knew this was coming. He knew he was going to get fired. He knew that there had been a change in the building. And he was asking people, a good friend of mine, he asked him, hey, can you help me out here? Can you get the media on my side? Is there anybody that can do a story on me? Texas, I can't afford to lose this $5 million job. I mean, I know that he was, and listen, he destroyed a lot of people's careers, lives. He actually did that. There are more people than you know of that have been talked about in the media that Jack Easterby had a hand, not only a hand, but he was directly responsible for them being fired and losing their career in the NFL. And he brought a lot of people on that he did have favor with, that did try, that owed him because he brought them into the organization. So he was trying to muster in Camu Grugier-Hill. Who else would have hired that guy? That guy's going to find out that out there in the market right now, he should have never left because he ain't going to get another job in the NFL. You were on the worst rush defense. You were one of the worst linebacking cores, if not the worst linebacking cores in the NFL. Can't wait to get that guy, right? No. Where are you going to work? Nobody's going to hire you. So, I mean, it's inexplicable what is going on right now with these guys behind the scenes.
Well, I mean, these were supposed to be good culture guys, right? That was the thing about Easterby and Grugier-Hill. You lose snaps to Christian Harris, and then all of a sudden you ask to leave. Like, what kind of competitor, what kind of good teammate is that? And Brandon Cooks, I mean, same deal. He's been terrible this year. Jeremy Branham on our station made a case that he's kind of quit on the team. That, when Mills threw a pick the other day, that Brandon Cooks just kind of threw his arms up in the air and walked off the field. We're seeing him like tweets on social media about him being traded. And this is the same guy that when he was being talked about being traded a year ago before the deadline, that he said, you might want to realize trading me is not a good idea because I'm not going. And, I think it was Berman asked him a follow-up, like, what are you going to do then? Are you just going to retire? And, Cooks didn't really have an answer, but he was like, either way, they shouldn't trade for me. I'm not going. So something's not right. These are your culture guys, and a front office executive leaves, and all of a sudden they don't want to play football anymore. What the hell is that?
Yeah, well, what are you going to get for Brandon Cooks anyway? I mean, before you got 2 1s, a 2 for him. But what is Brandon Cooks worth right now? Who's going to take on that contract for Brandon Cooks?
I don't think anybody. And it's so punitive for the Texans to do it because they're getting a massive dead cap hit. Right now, they're only 2 or 3 million above the cap, so they couldn't do that right now anyway. They'd have to change some deals, restructure some money to even make it happen. And then what's the point of doing all that if you're only going to get maybe a 4th-round pick for him because he's going to cost so much? That's my concern, John, is what do you do? If he's already quitting on the team, you can't cut him because that kills your salary cap. But if he's being a problem, in the locker room, they're in a tough spot. And I'm kind of questioning Caserio here. If they would have fired Easterby when they should have a long time ago, they wouldn't be in this mess to where they gave Brandon Cooks a contract extension. They should have traded him at the deadline last year.
Well, if they never hired Jack Easterby, they'd be in a much better position because of the decisions that he has made. Now, Brandon Cooks has got to be on the field, dude. I mean, who are you going to throw to? Nico Collins is banged up. I mean, who? Moore? Dorsett? I mean, come there, you got nothing. It's the weakest wide receiver group in the NFL. And the guy that you were supposed to lean on this year, that was the whoopee last year for your quarterback, your young quarterback, is non-existent right now. It's a mess. It is a total mess. Can you explain to me why they are only 1.5 point underdogs to Tennessee? That's, to me, is the nuttiest line I think I've ever seen.
It is. Didn't they beat Tennessee once last year?
Yeah, in Tennessee.
And they were very competitive in the other game against them. So, maybe it's just a matchup thing. But Derrick Henry, after what we saw Josh Jacobs did to this defense, what he is going to do to these guys, I think that's crazy. The other thing is, this is another big hole. Now Casario's got to find a number 1 wide receiver. We already knew we had, defensive end and quarterback and all these other needs. Now it looks like you got to go get a wide receiver because Brandon Cooks he's clearly out on the team.
Well, we just got to keep rooting against them Browns, okay? Because you get your quarterback with your first pick of the Houston Texans, and you get your wide receiver with that Browns pick. Let's go. Anybody who's playing the Browns, let's go.
Let's go.